Today I'm going to talk about a subject that's quite common at the moment, remortgaging, but specifically in the equity release market. Did you or someone you know, like your mum or dad, perhaps use an equity release product in the past, say more than 3 or 4 years ago, to release equity from their property? Well, if they did, the chances are they are paying a high interest rate on their mortgage, whether they pay the interest or are having it accrued. So it might be worth looking at that to see if you can get a better deal. And also, potentially they could raise more capital if they wish to, because obviously they are now older and the property is presumably worth more money than it was before. And those two factors together are what allows you to calculate the amount that a person can borrow from an equity release mortgage, or a lifetime mortgage it's now called. Mortgages have evolved significantly, so they're no longer the kind of deal they're probably in a deal. If you took out a mortgage 10 years ago, an equity release mortgage, you're probably paying more like 8% per year in interest rate. 8% is a lot more than most people would expect to pay for a mortgage nowadays. Equity release mortgages start at around 2.6%, so practically a quarter of what they were, and in some cases probably are a quarter. There will be some out there paying 10%. So certainly, speaking to an advisor like myself, specialised in this area, we would look at whether there are any penalty clauses. In particular, if you're with a lender that no longer trades. There are lots of smaller companies that no longer work in this market, and people still owe them the money, and they are quite keen to get their money back, so they're happy to accept you remortgaging to someone else. That could potentially massively reduce the cost and therefore reduce the impact on the inheritance going forwards. It gives the opportunity for your mum or dad, or yourself, if it's yourself, to actually consider one of the newer style products where you might actually wish to make regular payments to the interest to reduce the interest accumulation. That wasn't available before. There are also areas where the loan to value you can borrow has increased anyway, because the market has changed. More and more lenders are focusing on that area. A bit more flexibility, be able to draw down income as and when you need it from the property, rather than taking a big lump sum and being charged interest straight away. Instead of taking £100,000 out now, you can have £10,000 a year, for example, and only start paying interest when you draw each £10,000. So in the first year, you're only paying interest on £10,000. That could be a flexible arrangement for you. It can help to supplement pensions. It can, if you want a lump sum, it can be used to purchase another property. You don't have to release equity from your own property. You could actually decide to move house and use it to purchase the next property, just like any other mortgage. It's just a mortgage. And then whether you choose to pay payments or not is up to you. It's not compulsory. That's the key. You can choose to make payments to reduce the interest, but if you find at some point in the future it's no longer comfortable doing that, you can either stop or reduce the payments to allow yourself a bit of flexibility there. Your family may even be able to help you out a little bit in the future. Who knows? There's also the facility now to be able to repay the mortgages without any penalties. You can repay them in the event of going to care. You can repay them, obviously, if one of the parties dies, without any kind of penalty. You can also repay them normally after a certain period without penalties anyway. So they're a completely different world now. It's definitely worth a review. It doesn't cost anything to get a review. If somebody gets in touch with me and asks me about their existing mortgage, I just need a bit of information from them, their authority to contact the lender. We can find out exactly what the scenario is, and if it's worth changing, we'll do the calculations, talk it through with all of the family, not just the person involved. If they want their family involved, we're happy to involve them, and only proceed if it makes sense. And for many people, it will make sense, particularly if their equity release mortgage was taken out more than 5 years ago. In the last 5 years, it's a bit closer. Might still be beneficial, but a bit closer. If it's more than 5 years, it's probably worth looking at. All right. So that's me for today. Hope that was useful. Cheers.